It's all the rage. He laughs and he hollers, takes center stage. Win or lose, he's got a grin on his face, 'cause Dallas Cowboys football is his happy place.
This is the One Star Cowboys podcast, end of week recap. A lot of injury news to talk about. We're going to get into all of that and some other highlights from the week that maybe didn't make it on the last show as we recorded the other day with our preview for Sunday's game against the Eagles. This one's just to kind of tie up some loose ends, some things we didn't get into, and we have a final injury report out now, so wanted to maybe start with that. Obviously, goes without saying, Dak Prescott ruled out of this game, and let's just stay on that one for a second because Stephen Jones, probably about 10 minutes before I started recording this podcast, said on 105 Through the Fan that they do expect to put Dak on injured reserve, which would mean that he would be out for at least the next 4 games. But then after saying that, he also shared that he doesn't think that anyone really knows whether Dak will be out 4 weeks, 6 weeks, or for the rest of the season. So there's a possibility for surgery in there. Doesn't sound like that's what Dak wants to do right now. I think they're going to kind of play it out and maybe wait a few more weeks to decide if they go in that direction. But it obviously does not look good. This is more than just a hamstring strain or pull that might keep you out for a week or two. This involves hamstring, somewhat coming off of the bone partially. So not a good situation there. It looks like a lot of Cooper Rush in the future and maybe even a mixture of Trey Lance getting in there a little bit. That remains to be seen who or how much that those two work. I think right now, as long as they have a chance to or haven't been eliminated from the playoffs, I think that Cooper Rush is going to get every opportunity to be the starter and lead the team. But it would not surprise me if Trey Lance got in for a package of plays or if we see down the line that Trey Lance even gets a start at some point. So Cowboys quarterback situation is pretty up in the air right now, nowhere near where we thought it would be maybe just a week ago. But that's the latest right there. Dak's probably going on IR and is going to be out for at least the next 4 games and possibly longer and possibly even the rest of the season. Another guy that a lot of people have asked me about is Deron Bland. He's been ruled out for this game as well. His 21-day practice window was activated a month ago. So clearly the Cowboys thought he'd be ready by now. He clearly suffered some type of a setback. His foot is just not where he needs it to be. It obviously doesn't feel right for him right now. Stephen Jones said on 105 Through the Fan that it's probably a week-to-week thing right now, but I know a lot of people ask about, well, why isn't he out there? How come he's not practicing? I thought they activated him from the IR. Oh, they did, and they thought he would be back by now, but it hasn't felt right for him, and he doesn't feel that he's ready to go on that yet. And so until he is, they're not going to just throw him out there. If the player doesn't feel comfortable on a foot that he had injured back before the season started, they're not just going to throw him out there. And so that remains to be week to week. We really don't know when he'll be back out there. And so that's obviously not a great situation for the Cowboys either. Positive side, CeeDee Lamb, full go in practice on Friday. No injury designation for him, same as Zach Martin. So that means that the team doesn't even think that they have to, put down probable, questionable, whatever. Those CeeDee Lamb, Zach Martin, they're playing Sunday. Micah Parsons, limited on Friday. He's been limited all week, but it's trending in the direction of him playing on Sunday. He certainly sounded that way this week. He's technically listed at questionable, but I expect him to play on Sunday. Other questionable players, Trayvon Diggs with the calf, Tyler Guyton dealing with a neck shoulder issue, linebacker Eric Kendricks also with a shoulder. Those 3 are all questionable as well. I think there's a decent chance that they all play. I would say if I had to rank them in order, I'd say Diggs and Kendricks would be 1 and 2, and Guyton would be the one that is a little bit more iffy. And the only reason I say that is because we had a conference call with Mike McCarthy on Friday earlier in the day, and he said that Guyton was, quote, very limited, and he's fighting through it, and he only took minimal reps on Friday in their walk-through practice. And so that made you kind of wonder, okay, well, maybe he's not going to start. And if that is the case, then do you put Asim Richards into the starting lineup? When Tyler Guyton went out of the game in Atlanta last Sunday, Asim came in for 1 series, and then Tyler went back out there. I kind of have my doubts about that. I think if Tyler Guyton can't go, I think that they probably move Tyler Smith back out to left tackle and then have TJ Bass come in and play left guard. not ideal, especially when Cooper Rush is getting his first start of the season. You'd like your best 5 out there, but that is up in the air as well. So that's just another one to keep on your radar there. Again, I do think that there is a chance later on in the year that Trey Lance gets in, potentially gets a chance to start. But Jerry Jones, Friday morning on The Fan, said that there's a window for Trey Lance and that they have packages for him. But he said, let me be clear, that's not just to get Lance some playing time. That's to bring to the table some offense for us. And he's a big threat with his legs, which we all know. So maybe we see them use Trey Lance in a handful of plays or something even on Sunday. Mike McCarthy, I can tell you, has not tipped his hand on that at all. He's certainly made it sound like, he's going in with Cooper Rush being the starter and Cooper Rush getting all of the reps. So there's that. Cooper Rush isn't a big bulletin board guy. He talked this week, not a lot of, earth-shattering quotes or anything like that. He's pretty even-keeled down the middle. I'd say the highlight of him talking to us was probably just the fact that why we were standing outside the locker room for about 5 or 6 minutes. At one point, Jake Ferguson walked by and said, if you guys see a quick flash of red on Sunday, don't be afraid. It's just number 10, which is obviously Rush's number. Got a laugh out of Rush, but that was about it. He didn't really have a lot of noteworthy things to pass along other than obviously he's excited about this opportunity and, spoke highly of his rapport with CeeDee Lamb, which is obvious. That's clearly Rush's time in the NFL. The best rapport he's had with a wide receiver has been CD, so it'll be interesting to see how that works on Sunday. But overall, not a great situation for the Cowboys right now. They are, I believe, 7-point underdogs last time I checked. And you look at the Eagles injury report, and it's nowhere close to what the Cowboys is. So some news came out that I believe it was on Friday morning where Nick Sirianni kind of got caught saying that, Jalen Hurts has been dealing with an ankle thing, even though they hadn't previously been putting that on their injury report. It sounds like he's been dealing with something, but he's still expected to play in the game on Sunday. They're not supposed to be without him, so that's obviously a big boost for them. But outside of that, the Eagles injury report looks pretty good for them. Out of the notable guys, I would say it's probably Saquon Barkley, but they expect him to be a full go and play in the game, full participation. Same deal with, as I mentioned, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, Darius Slay, Devontae Smith. These guys are on the injury report, but they're all expected to play in the game, and so they're in a much better situation than the Cowboys are. There's absolutely no question about that. A couple other quick notes to pass along. Both of these coming from Jerry Jones's Friday morning radio interview, making it very clear that they have never discussed any type of trade involving Micah Parsons. Jerry was specific to say that he's a big part of their future and that when he says that there's been no conversations, he's meaning with the most important of the decision makers, and that would be Jerry himself, Stephen Jones, and of course, Will McClay. And so he made it very clear that they haven't had one conversation ever about not having Micah Parsons on the team, ever. So I know that is, especially during the trade deadline, there was some talk of what could you potentially get for Micah, and I don't think that's interesting TV and podcast chatter, but it doesn't sound like the Cowboys have any serious interest in that. The other one I wanted to touch on a little bit too, because this was Jerry's first time talking since they traded that 4th-round pick for Jonathan Mingo, who I think a lot of people think 4th is a bit of a strong pick to give up there for a player who hasn't even had a touchdown reception in his NFL career yet. But Cowboys had, I believe it was a 3rd-round grade on him. And Jerry said we wanted Mingo when we left the draft and we're disappointed that we didn't get him. And when they found out that he was available, that's when they became interested during the trade deadline. And so they said they had a big interest in him, and he fits the profile of what they want, and was very specific that he feels that Mingo is a Dak-friendly type of wide receiver. And so take that however you will. I think he means that he's kind of a big body receiver, could help him in the red zone, which is something this team has been missing. The problem there is he's joining this team mid-season. Dak Prescott, nobody knows when he's going to be back, if he's going to be back this season. So I don't know how much time there really will be for Jonathan Mingo and Dak to work together and get on the same page. So maybe this is one of those things where the Cowboys have talked about how this trade wasn't only for this season, but the future. Mingo, 2 years left on his rookie contract. We might not see him and Dak play together this season. So I clearly see the 2 years remaining on the contract being a big part of that trade. And then just finishing up with Mingo, I'd say the one other thing that I thought was interesting is that he did talk in the locker room on Thursday. And of course, he was asked about joining the Cowboys. He pointed out how he thinks it's a fresh start for him. And he said he's glad that the Cowboys took a chance on him, and he's eager to show them what he can do. When he was specifically asked why didn't things work out with the Panthers, he said he didn't know. And he said, you can talk to them. It ain't up to me. It's between the front office and coaching staff. I know there's some things that I could have done better, but I'm here now. So that was Mingo talking with reporters on Thursday, and also talking to reporters on Thursday with CeeDee Lamb, as I'd mentioned earlier. He's good to go for Sunday. But just to kind of give you a little background on it. So the shoulder injury, where he's at right now, is a pain thing. It's not a range of motion thing. He says he has full range of motion, no protective brace in practice, and does not plan to wear one Sunday in the game. What it'll be, though, is that he'll probably be dealing with a little bit of pain. But from what I've heard, he's had good practices and is able to go, and that's clearly why he did not have an injury designation as of Friday's report and is good to go for Sunday. So that's just kind of wrapping up some things from the end of the week. Appreciate all the listeners out there to the One Star Cowboys podcast, and go ahead and tell a friend or two. We really appreciate you listening.
John's weekly recap, it's all the rage. He laughs and he hollers, takes center stage. Win or lose, he's got a grin on his face, 'cause Dallas Cowboys football is his happy place.
I never thought I'd say this in my life,
But
fly Eagles fly.